This episode is supported by Fulton Commons, and if you're looking for a place to co-work, look no further. It is a super cute space with lots of light, and it's great for individuals and organizations. Like us, CityCast is there, and I love to change up my workspace, and you can do that so easily just within the building. Like, I like to start out with a cup of coffee, looking out the window at the trees, then pop over to these bright pink booths, and then I end my day tucked into a desk at the library-inspired corner. But what's truly unique about Fulton Commons is the shared commercial kitchen on site. So for co-working members, this means lots of food-related events and maybe a taste of Pittsburgh's next big product. And for professionals, this is a perfect place to start or grow your business. There's over 8,500 square feet of kitchen space, and Fulton manages the kitchen infrastructure. There's access to equipment, storage, prep and cleaning areas, everything you need, whether you're a baker, prepared meal provider, food truck operator, or doing something else that's super cool in the food space. Visit FultonCommons.com to learn more and request a tour.
This is CityCast Pittsburgh. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. Our big museum collections have so much to offer: the art, the activities, the dinosaurs. But we also have a ton of smaller spaces. Some of them are filled with truly weird stuff, like thousands of funky bicycles, even a singing tumor. Today, we're bringing back our takes on Pittsburgh's best, most unique, and importantly, totally free museum collections that you can browse all around the burg. I am back with Jeremy Jones, the owner of Discover the Burg, the amazing blog that tells all of us what we need to be doing all the time. Jeremy, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
And Asha Prihar, brand new to CityCast Pittsburgh, but not the CityCast family. You used to work over on our sister show with Philly. Now you're the newsletter writer and reporter at Spotlight PA, which we also love. Welcome, Asha.
Hi, thanks for having me. It's great to be back on CityCast.
I love it. I'm so glad to have you back. And actually, I want to put you a little bit on the spot. How much time have you spent in Pittsburgh? Because I know you're still based in Philly. Have you gotten over here before?
I have spent most of my life in sort of like central and eastern PA.
We won't hold it against you. It's chill.
So I did grow up in Sheets territory. I'll put that out there. But I have visited Pittsburgh a few times. I saw my first Taylor Swift concert in Pittsburgh. So very positive memory there. The Red Tour. Shout out to formerly Heinz Field.
There you go. Okay, now you're actually showing some pretty decent local bona fides. I love it.
Yeah, but I haven't been super recently. But I do love museums and free things. And so I've been especially since I've been at Spotlight, I've been gradually developing myself a little like bucket list of spots to visit throughout Pennsylvania.
Jeremy, you feel like at the appropriate Pittsburgh welcome wagon here. What do you love about the free options available to us here in this city?
Well, I mean, I think we just have a wealth of diversity in the free museum options. I mean, you might not think about it since a lot of the bigger museums are paid and ticketed.
And they're just huge. They have like big names like Carnegie.
Yeah,
like,
right.
It's kind of hard to compete with like that kind of clout. Let's talk about some of your favorite recommendations. I guess, Jeremy, let's start off with a big one. Like, what is the one place you take an out-of-town visitor? Say they've got like an afternoon free. Like, where are you headed?
Oh, it's always going to be Randyland in the north side. I mean, partly also just because I live around the corner from Randyland, so it's super easy for me to take guests there. For people who don't know what Randyland is, in the mid-90s, a local artist named Randy bought a couple houses on credit card in the Mexican War streets and just turned it into a massive outdoor art project. These houses are painted, top to bottom. There's a interior courtyard with tchotchkes and, stuff that's just been collected over the years.
And it's really colorful. It is truly rainbow on every single corner, like the ground you're walking on to the walls in front of you, even the porta-john outside. Like, it's all rainbow.
And it gets updated all the time. Like I walk my dog there by a couple times a week. And it's just like every time I look, something's new, a new paint job somewhere, a new, piece of art outside. So even though it doesn't like maybe fit the typical bill from a museum, it just has so much that you're looking at that it's essentially an art exhibit outside. And it's wonderful.
Well, let's stick with art. Asha, what about you? What do you recommend kind of in this general region that feels like it would speak to that like artistic vibe?
Yeah, I mean, over in Westmoreland County, there's the Westmoreland Museum of American Art. And as the name suggests, that's entirely American works. They've got works by women sculptors. They've got a collection of fracture. I think it's pronounced fracture or fracture.
Sounds good to me.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's a style of like this like German folk art made by immigrants. And they also have like a Pennsylvania focused collection.
Another great one that I love, you need to make a reservation for, but is the Troy Hill Art Houses. These are kind of hidden gems in Troy Hill that a local resident has bought and hired some worldwide acclaimed artists to essentially do the entire inside of these houses as, you know, art pieces. So there's four houses. You have to get a reservation for each, but they're free tours. I don't want to give too much away about them, but if you like immersive world-class art, it's a lot of fun. It's one of those that we just like to say, go and check it out. My favorite is called Dark House Lighthouse. And if you like really, really cool in-depth art, they're really fun.
You can also see the permanent art collection at the Frick for free and their gardens. The other parts of the museum are paid. Like they have like special exhibitions and stuff.
Yeah, they have the big fancy Clayton house. We've been on the tour and talked about that on this show before, but it's like like the carriage house and like that piece kind of like off to the left of the house from the parking lot that I think you can walk through for free most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy, anything else you would shout out?
There's a bunch of art galleries all over the city that are free. And some of my favorite ones are the downtown galleries like Space and Wood Street galleries. My favorite is actually the Wood Street galleries because it's actually in the Wood Street station of the T. You have to go around the backside of the building, and there's a separate entrance where you take an elevator up to 2 different floors, have gallery exhibits.
I've never been upstairs. I thought it was just the floor at the bottom there.
No, you go not the door where you go into like you're getting on the T. Go around the backside. There's a door that takes you to an elevator, and there's 2 floors above. The second and third floor have galleries in them, and they change them, you know, every quarter or so.
Jeremy, I've been to that museum like dozens of times. I've never been in the elevator. That's so funny. Thank you for teaching me that.
And, you know, the one cool thing with the galleries, too, is that, you know, downtown Pittsburgh does quarterly gallery crawls where some of these are open late. And, you know, Garfield has the Unblurred First Fridays where things are open late as well. So there's a lot of cool, just independent galleries around. But yeah, Wood Street's definitely one of my top free galleries in the city to check out.
So what about for science lovers? Where would y'all recommend people can get in for free, or at least like see some stuff for free?
Yeah, I mean, I think science is a little tricky. I mean, the biggest ones like the Science Center obviously have paid tickets. Mm-hmm. I like that you can see the USS Rakin outside, the Tench class submarine. Like it's a paid ticket if you want to go in, but you can just be rolling down the river trail and see a literal submarine, which I kind of find
it's this teeny tiny little submarine that just like hangs out under the trees on the riverbank.
Yeah. And I know that Asha is going to talk about another one that I absolutely love as well.
Yeah, you can tour the Allegheny Observatory on Thursdays and Fridays during the summer.
Yeah, that's over there in Riverview Park.
Yeah. They have guided tours. It's not like something where you can like go in and like walk around on your own. Like you have to take a guided tour. You have to sign up in advance. But they do them twice a week in the summer months and into September. But cool opportunity to like see space a little bit.
Well, and also like I would also argue it's like a lot of history too, because Jeremy, check me here, but I think it's like there was something about like how telescopes were first developed. Like we just had something like really, really impressive, really, really early on.
I think the biggest thing that was discovered there was that they focused on standardized time. Actually, there they were using the telescopes to, you know, figure out standard time and send it out to all the railroad stations all over the country. Because as you can imagine, if one station was using one time and another was using another time, then things get all wonky. And so like standardized time actually was one thing that was kind of came about because of the observatory here.
Yeah. And also just like a really historic space too. Like that building itself, like you feel like you're kind of stepping into like a different moment in history.
And it's open like at a time when a lot of museums aren't open.
We got really lucky when we went on a tour last year that we had a clear night and you can actually look through some of the telescopes when when the night's clear, they open up the dome. So we got to take a really close-up look at the moon, which is really neat.
Today's show is supported by the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh. Think about the last time you walked into a library. Maybe you were picking up your next great read, bringing your child to story time, studying for a test, or just looking for a quiet place to focus. In Pittsburgh, a lot of great stories start at the library. At Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh, people of all ages come to read, learn, and discover something new. And April 1st is Library Giving Day, a nationwide day to support the libraries that help our communities grow. Your gift keeps books, programs, and essential library services free for everyone. From early literacy to tutoring, job resources, and engaging learning opportunities that spark curiosity. So mark your calendar for April 1st. Donate at carnegielibrary.org/give. That's carnegielibrary.org/give to support Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh on Library Giving Day.
Hi, CityCast listeners. This is David Plotz. I'm the CEO of CityCast, but I also have another job. I'm one of the hosts of the Political Gabfest, Slate's politics podcast. Every week, I get on mic with my co-hosts Emily Bazelon and John Dickerson, and we talk about politics and a lot more about other things that we care about. The Gabfest has been going for more than 20 years because the three of us love talking to each other, and we have an amazing community of listeners. If you like the open-hearted, curious way CityCast approaches cities, I think you'll like the Political Gabfest too. Stream it on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast.
Hey, Yins, when you hear wear something fancy, do you accidentally, inadvertently reach for something black and gold? Do you have gum bands around your house? Does the car need washed or need to be washed? If you care deeply about this quirky city that all of us call home, join us to celebrate 412 Day, a totally real holiday where we're putting a shining spotlight on everything that we love about Pittsburgh. You can join us at Southern Tier Brewing Company on the North Shore for live music, games, a market full of local vendors, Pittsburgh-themed flash tattoos, and more. And did we mention that you can get our special CityCast Pittsburgh beer on tap? 412 Day is open to everyone, totally free and family-friendly. Come on down to party and celebrate what makes Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh. Plus, our neighbors, our members, are going to get some special surprise merch as long as supplies last. Learn more about 412 Day at pittsburgh.citycast.fm.
What are y'all's favorite, I don't know how to categorize this, like favorite collections of weird stuff? Like, I feel like that's like a common thing in Pittsburgh. It's like someone who got just a teeny bit obsessed and it spun out from there.
Oh, I have plenty. One of my favorite ones was Bicycle Heaven. But they just recently switched to being ticketed and say you have to pay for a ticket now.
I had no idea. Like they always had their little donation box when you came in, but I didn't realize they'd moved to being paid. I kind of feel like that's worth it though. Like that, I'd be shocked if that's like a hefty ticket too.
I think it's like $15, but they have like 4,000 bikes and they're super historic. Immediately next door to that is Johnny Angel's Ginchy stuff. Johnny Angel is a local musician, been playing for something like 50 years. He's a wonderful guy, but he opened up a music store / museum. Half of it is buying records and music merch, and then the other half is an exhibit of all of his memorabilia from those decades playing. So it's a lot of great music memorabilia, photos of him with famous musicians that he's had, old band jackets from the 60s and 70s and stuff like that. I will say that one tends to have somewhat variable hours, though.
Yeah, Johnny has to be there, I think.
Yeah, and if they are playing a gig the night before, I've gone a few times and they haven't been open, even though Google says it could be.
And that's an important distinction. Google might tell you it could be open, but you probably just need to check it out by sight.
Right. Another one that I like that has a collection of really weird stuff is not technically free. They do require a donation, but it's kind of unspecified on what that could be. You could take them a bottle of weird alcohol just as much as money. But Trundle Manor in Swissville, Mr. Arm and Velda are great artists and wonderful people, but they have turned their house into a collection of absurd oddities. They have, taxidermy animals, weird art that they've made themselves. I think they have a singing tumor in a jar. It's definitely an eclectic, weird mix. It's a wonderful, wonderful tour, and they're great.
A singing tumor? Like
yeah.
TUMOR?
Yeah, like someone donated a tumor in a jar and they put it on a bass that like has music that when they turn it on, it sings. It's like, I'm not sure if they show that one still or not. It's been a few years since I've seen it, but it's
wow.
Yeah, it's a cool spot. I think in their kitchen they have like a giant laser death ray. They have when I did a tour there, they had a car outside in the garage that was like made up to be like a zombie killer. So it had like a giant grill on the front that would like mow down zombies like you would expect from like a Mad Max movie or something like that. It's wild.
Sounds like a good like Halloween visit.
It is. Go to the article we have on Discover the Berg about it to check out some photos, because it's really one of those things where me selling it on a podcast is not doing it justice.
I don't know, man. You're picking some high points, I think. Well, while we're on the subject, Jeremy, give me your like top one or two other places to see like creepy stuff in Pittsburgh.
Ooh, I really like the old jail tour downtown. At the county building, that historic castle-y looking building downtown. The original jail in the city was there, and they still have the old cells, and they're open for tours on like, I want to say like select Mondays. It's very, very limited, but you can go in and see like the historic records of the old jail, learn about breakouts, like learn about all this the history of the original jail in the city, which I kind of find creepy. You do have to go through like airport style security. They don't want you taking, photos and things like that on the inside, but it's a really cool and kind of creepy place. I also think St. Anthony's in Troy Hill is also kind of creepy in the sense that they have what they claim to be the largest collection of relics outside of the Vatican.
Like Catholic relics.
Yeah, Catholic relics. And so, sometimes relics could just be like a tooth. So it's very interesting if you're into that. And they also have a giant life-size Station of the Cross as well, which is neat to see, but also a little creepy to me since it is life-size.
Yeah, I bet. Well, Asha, let's jump to you, because I feel like you're covering a wide swath of Pennsylvania all the time these days. What would you recommend that's maybe just outside the Pittsburgh area, but is maybe worth the drive?
Sure. I mean, if you ever want to come to Philly, I have like a million recommendations for you.
We'll come back to you for that.
But I won't. That's a bit of a drive, so I won't mention those. But yeah, I can't, like I said, forming my bucket list, but can't personally vouch for it since I haven't been yet. But one place that I really want to check out is about an hour and a half south of Pittsburgh in Fayette County, and it's called Fort Necessity. It's a National Park Service site. That's the historic site of the first battle in the French and Indian War, which was actually George Washington's only surrender in his military career.
He did take one L. I mean, I think we can give him that.
I'm not like a huge military history person personally. I know a lot of people are into that. That's not really my thing. But so like the thing that actually like kind of excites me more about it is I'm a little bit of an infrastructure nerd. And there's like an education center there that's half dedicated to the battle, but the other half is actually dedicated to the National Road, which is US 40 and was America's first federally funded highway. So I thought it was super cool that they kind of did a little like combo site there at Fort Necessity, and have like both of those like pieces of history that seem like kind of separate, but I guess both make sense for the site.
I would add for Fort Necessity also, while you're down there, also make sure to go to the Jumonville Glen area. They have a battle marker there. It's just a couple miles down the road. It kind of ties all the history together of the battle that took place there. Since the fort was at one place, but the initial shots were, a few miles away. It's a good one to kind of combo up while you're there.
Yeah, I mean, double up. Why not? Jeremy, what about you? What do you recommend? Kind of within like, I don't know, maybe 2 hours or so.
I think we talked about this at the beginning, but the Westmoreland Museum of American Art is great for a short road trip. I can't speak highly enough of that museum. It's wonderful.
And they got like an enormous endowment several years ago now, but like it really changed everything about how they do their presentation. Also their insurance bills, I think. But
Yeah.
it's really like made it such a professional operation.
Yeah, definitely. And, I keep mentioning about how like some places are just kind of exhibits out and about. One of my favorite things is the mill at McConnell's Mill. That is not open all the time, but, it has limited hours where you can go inside and see the historic mill that's in the state park. If you are ever at McConnell's Mill and hiking and the door is open and you can go in, it's a good one to stop at that has kind of a free museum vibe to it.
Yeah, and that's what, like about 45 minutes north of the city? I think it's in Portersville.
Yeah, it's right off the Portersville exit.
What about tips for finding some of these free spaces? Because I feel like sometimes that's like as y'all are talking, you're like, only open on these days and caveat with this. And maybe if the guy is there, like I feel like the research piece is sometimes like the hardest part of all of this. And I mean, obviously the best thing would be to take the tours with y'all. But if somebody can't do that, what do you recommend to like kind of like hunt down these spaces and plan a good day?
We have articles on Discover the Berg about free places in Pittsburgh.
It's
so
great.
it's
You
a
should
great
read
place
it.
to start. I'm going to toot my own horn there. I think one thing about finding things that are free is that, we're talking about things that are permanently free right now, but some museums also have days where things are just free for entry. Check out things like RAD. They're offering free museum tickets to Allegheny County residents that have a library card. So you can log in there with your library card number and get tickets for what would be otherwise paid museums for free. And then also, I read the news, honestly, because a lot of times there'll be something that comes out that says something's free. Like just a news story just a couple weeks ago that said that the Heinz History Center got a huge donation and it's going to be free for kids. So, there's just kind of pay attention to news sources and information about free things, even if temporary pops up a lot.
Subscribe to the Hey Pittsburgh newsletter. We love some free stuff around here. Asha, what about you?
I think some other good places to start, similar to Fort Necessity, there are lots of National Park Service sites. You can go on their website and see like a couple more in the region. Some of them charge fees, some of them don't, but there are like a handful of days a year, like Juneteenth, for example. I think August 4th is another one where everything, like all National Park Service sites are free. And there are also some great state-run museums that aren't usually free, but do charge like pretty modest admission. I'm thinking like under $10 usually.
Yeah.
Some examples of that would be like the Erie Maritime Museum, the Somerset Historical Center, which is a rural history museum in Somerset County. And there's Old Economy Village in Ambridge. I haven't been to any of those, but I have been to some other state-run museums, and I've generally been like really like impressed with just like their size and scope while also being a ticket that's like $10 or under.
Yeah.
And if you're ever traveling and you're near a college campus, I think it's always worth checking out if there's a free museum there, because a lot of universities do have art museums or some other kind of gallery or thing to look at.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but there's actually like one I'm thinking of like over at the University of Pittsburgh that's like dedicated to like the development of the polio vaccine, because that was done here in Pittsburgh. And yeah, the building has to be open, but like you can see an iron lung really up close and like the desk where he did this work, and it's really cool. Definitely one to check out.
Yeah, it's like universities, like they're great at, they're in the business of knowledge and culture preservation and all that. So I think you'd be surprised at like how much stuff they have that the public can just look at. And then the last thing I'll add is if you receive SNAP assistance, definitely check out the Museums for All program, which can get you super discounted tickets to a lot of museums. There are over 90 participating sites throughout Pennsylvania, and that includes around a dozen in Pittsburgh. So that's definitely something worth looking into to make museums a little more accessible.
Also thinking of like makerspace type areas, like the Pittsburgh Glass Center has a gallery as well, and it's completely free to go to. And you can actually, walk around the space and see the artists there making glass, and then you can also go to the gallery and see, rotating art exhibits there as well.
Definitely. I guess final tips from y'all maybe to just be in a good headspace to experience, to try to chase down any of this. When it's free, I think maybe the expectations should be a little bit different. And I'm kind of curious, like y'all's approach to that, what you'd recommend.
Yeah, I mean, for me, a free museum isn't really free. It still costs someone money to run. It doesn't matter if it's Randy painting on the side of a building or the Westmoreland Museum having a major gallery that is subsidized in some capacity. It still costs money for everything to exist. So a lot of these places have donation options. I always recommend, if you can, to donate something. Some places that are donation required, but for the most part, a lot of the ones we talked about are free. But
yeah, there's always a big but.
If you're able to put some money in, because a free place won't stay free if the community doesn't support it. And that's why we've seen maybe some places move from a free model to a ticketed model, because just costs are rising for everybody.
I also feel like when I'm at a free museum, I'm often thinking about, as I'm looking at things, I'm like, who do I know who would like this too? And then I recommend it to them afterward if I had a good time, because there are lots of these hidden gems that deserve appreciation and community support. And I also love being able to recommend someone a good time.
Asha, you really are a professional recommender. You both are, really. Well, Jeremy, Asha, thank you both so much for your wisdom and your recommendations. We will be reading both of you to figure out what we need to be doing more this Pittsburgh summer.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
That is all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. You can support the show by becoming a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor. You get ad-free listening, some perks, some swag. You can find all the details at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow with more from around the city. We'll talk to you soon.
I'll throw out one that I really love. I think I probably go see it like every 4 or 5 years or something, but it's the Forbes Field walls in Oakland. It's not a museum, but it's like a thing you can go see to kind of like experience a different piece of Pittsburgh's past.
Yeah, and they have like the old home plate in the campus building across the way from it. So like in the middle of the building is just the glass framed home plate too.
Mm-hmm. So this is where the Pirates played long time ago, before PNC Park, before Three River Stadium. This was where they played over in Oakland.